14 years after the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, the journey towards its full implementation is not yet complete.
One of the largest march against some of
the Kenya Christian Professionals Forum held Katiba Day celebrations today, where the Law Society of Kenya, while noting the gains of the new dispensation, faulted the government for violating human rights in the protests witnessed recently.
This level of public participation that we've seen in the people of Kenya should be encouraged and should not be fought, should not be met by impunity and abuse and misuse of police power and criminalization of the criminal justice system against the people of Kenya.
This is an opportune time to remind the current government that we expect nothing short of complete compliance with each and every dictate of the Constitution.
LSK also criticized the government for starting the process of amending the Constitution under the NADCO report before fully implementing the Supreme Law. The report recommended several constitutional amendments, including the establishment of the office of the Leader of the Opposition and 2 deputy prime ministers.
The fact that we are still talking about how to create political expediency, that we can have what is good for the political class, then I think we are still going in the wrong direction. And what we ought to still foster is, let us implement the Constitution first as it ought to be. Article 81 stipulates that not more than 2/3 of the members of the elective public bodies shall be of the same gender. By this standard, Parliament as constituted is unconstitutional.
Civil society groups have also lamented the violation of court orders and the lack of public participation in legislation, saying the judiciary should be at the forefront of defending its own independence. Before the Supreme Court stayed the Court of Appeal judgment that nullified the Finance Act 2023 last week, the government continued to impose taxes under the Act despite its unconstitutionality.
If their own court orders are disobeyed, then they go ahead to grant reprieve to the same arm of government that continues to disobey those orders, then they remain the same suckers. They remain the joke to the citizens of Kenya.
In Mombasa and Nakuru, Kenyans called for the prosecution of government officials implicated in corruption, while rights groups called for the implementation of Chapter 6 of the Constitution.
Kwa maandamano, ati tuko kando na kikatiba. Hii maandamano iko kwa katiba.
Tumeona ya kwamba tangu assume office the year 2022 mwezi wa 9 hapo, waathiriwa wote wenye walikuwa na cases, court cases, zimekuwa withdrawn.
Bill of Rights, sisi kama watetezi wa haki za kibinadamu, ikiguswa sisi tutarudi kwa maandamano.
Muriel Adhiambo, K24 TV, Nairobi.